Okay, we're going to look at bar chords now. So these are the chords that are shaped like this. So these are going to open up a whole new world to your guitar playing if you haven't learnt them already. Because they're a generic shape that can be applied across the neck, and there's variations we make to them to get our different chords. So to change from major to minor, to change to 7 chords and that sort of thing, major 7 chords, all easy to do from this shape. So the reason you learn the open chords first is because these bar chords are slightly harder to play, but once you get in the hang of them and changing between them, like I say, it's going to be a whole new world of guitar playing. So the ones we're looking at in this video are 6th string bar chords. So they are bar chords with their root note on the 6th E string. So you will also hear them called E string bar chords. You might hear them called E-shape bar chords, which we'll look at shortly why that is. But I'm going to look at a few different ways of explaining these, because different people will understand stuff in different ways, and it's really important to understand what you're doing on the guitar. It's easy just to learn a generic shape, but unless you understand what the parts of that shape are and how they're made up, it's quite limiting. Whereas if you really understand it and what the different parts are, then you can adapt it and really get a better idea of what's going on. So we're going to look at an A major bar chord to start with on our 5th fret. Okay, so we're going to start with a bar on our 5th fret. Now with the barring finger, what we want to avoid is, see, you've got creases in your fingers. You just want to avoid those being over any strings. Okay, so obviously that's going to be different for different people with different shaped different sized fingers, and for some people it might not be possible to do that. We just need to do your best, and what we want to do is we want to have that finger nice and straight, holding down all the strings, and just play through those. Okay, make sure we get all those there with that one finger. So on the back of my neck, my thumb there is in the middle of the neck, okay? And it's going to be slightly in front of where my first finger is, okay? So there's more fingers to come on yet. Okay, so the next finger I'm going to put on, my second finger here, okay, that's going to go on the 3rd string, or the G string there. So I've got my E and my B at the bottom. They're going to be open. Then on that G string, I'm going to play that in the 6th fret. Okay, and then on the next fret along, on the 7th, I'm going to put my pinky on the next string up, being the D string, and then my 3rd finger there is going to sit on top of that in the 7th fret as well on the A string. Okay, and that's my chord shape. So these two ones down the bottom there need to be open. And that's an A major bar chord. Okay, so if we go back to our major scale that we learnt in an earlier video, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is the same as 1, being an octave. Okay, so if we look at this chord now, that first note there is our 1. That one we're playing there with this finger, that's our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our octave there. So now we have 1, 5, 8. And this one down here, that's actually our 3. Okay, so if we play our scale, that's our 3 there, but we can't play that and this 5 at the same time because they're on the same string. So we need to octave that one down and play it up there. So that's how this chord is made up. So now we know from that scale video that the difference between a major and minor scale is flat 3, flat 6 and flat 7. Okay, and a standard triad chord, we don't have a 6 or a 7, we've just got a 3. So a flat 3, so to flatten that one there, really simple, I just take that finger off, and now that note is played back as part of my bar. That's now a minor chord. So all I need to do now, just like we could move our scale anywhere on the neck, we can now do the same with this chord. So major like that, that finger off makes it minor. Cool. So the other thing we can do with this chord is we can play different parts out of it. So you'll hear different styles of music that will play the low part, followed by the high part. And a lot of rock music will use mainly just the low strings. Okay, so that's one way to look at this. This is based on the scale, how it's made up. Another way to look at it, remember I said that it will sometimes be called the E-shaped chord. And that's because the shape is the same as our open E shape. So remember our E major chord? In this case, the nut of the guitar here is acting as our barring finger. So as we move it along, we just add that bar on. Okay, so if we look at our open F chord, really it's the same thing. If we go from that E up to an F, it's the same thing, we're just not playing that low F there. Okay, so that's just another way of looking at it, and that's why you'll hear it be called an E-shaped bar chord. Okay, what that means now is that you can play any major or minor bar chord on that 6th string. Okay, so E major, E minor, F major, sorry, take the right finger off, F minor, and so on and so forth. F sharp minor, G, G minor, and so on and so forth. You come right up here and you'll get back to E again on your 12th fret. Okay, but obviously in when you're playing songs and that sort of thing that are quite quick, if we played that all on that one string, we'd be moving up and down the neck quite a lot. So that's why we need to learn 5th string bar chords as well, so that we can combine patterns on the 2 strings. Okay, so that's what we're going to learn in our next video. So make sure that you get onto that video as well, so that you can start learning to combine these and change between them. So just to let you know in advance, the shapes are slightly different for the 5th string bar chords from what they are for the 6th string, and that's because of this B string here. Cool, so have a practice through these 6th string ones first, and then get onto the 5th string ones, and then you'll be away with bar chords.